I don't know how I feel about Bravocon this year. I'm glad I got the mileage out of last year, but this year with Housewives being so disappointing. Beverly Hills, it's a build-up season, but they could have gone on with Kyle's divorce. They should have pushed her into that and pushed her into coming out of the closet. F her feelings. And F that singer's feelings too. I'm glad Teddy Mellencamp is going to be there. I have more shade to throw. But with Housewives of Atlanta being such a disappointment and with them being so stingy with the franchises, I mean, y'all thought, oh, we're going to take a year and wait for Dubai. That's the problem. Everything Bravo's been doing lately is we're going to take our time. We're going to wait and get it right. But every time you wait, you still come with garbage. Maybe you need to just slap some shit together and see. Maybe you just need to slap some stuff together and see how it works. I'm tired of we're taking our time. You took your time and brought us Brit frickin' Edie. You took your time and allowed producers to allow Kenya to embarrass herself. Because I'm sorry, somebody in production should have known what was going on your set before she was allowed to act so ignorant. Hell, y'all could have kept her from firing herself. But you didn't. But that's taking your time and getting it right. So again, you've taken a year with this festival, and now you're bringing it back. I'm worried you've messed it up. I'm scared of in-shitification. Y'all gonna try to get more money out of us? They ain't no more to get. Like, I'm afraid that they're going to do something stupid like you're only allowed to ask one question per panel, or you're only allowed to ask questions in certain I'm afraid that they're going to try to stop people like me from doing their guerrilla marketing and turning Bravocon into Alex Con, because last year it was Alex Con. Chris and I were truly the belles of the ball. I ain't got shit else to do, so I'm gonna go, and hopefully it'll be better than last year. I don't like that it's in Vegas because Vegas has gotten just disgustingly overpriced. So the hotel's going to be too much. And honestly, the food there has gotten terrible and overpriced. I'm only going to get on TV. I'm only going to ask disrespectful questions. Disrespectful questions. And with Denise Cohen, why is it that the longer this show is on, the worse you all are at casting? Is it because you're cheap? Or is it because you can't find people that are willing to show their cervix for a quarter, aka you're cheap again? Why do you feel it appropriate not pay people for their first 3 or 4 seasons on Housewives now that it is a multinational juggernaut? Why do you think that you can still get away with your old formula of having these heifers pay their own way for the first 4 seasons before you actually give them a check? What other job does that? Don't you think it's time to realize that if you want quality, you're going to have to pay for quality, especially since these women don't get any residuals, but you keep airing this shit like there's no tomorrow? Why do you think that's going to be a business model that works? Especially because it seems that your cheap talent pool has dried up and now you may have to crack into your paid talent pool. Angela Oakley, have you found a plastic surgeon that can give your nose an ethnic look? Or at least a human look? Because right now it's giving uncanny valley pie slice. Will you be able to breathe through your nostrils next season? Britt Edie, how does it feel to be the most hated housewife since Tamra Judge? How does it feel to be the most disliked Black housewife that's ever been on Bravo? I hope you're a one-season wonder. Brittany Cartwright, why do you, as a white woman, expect sympathy from the world when you married a known cokehead? Now, you want to talk about Jax and his actions in rehab, but I want to talk about your years of enabling. Now, you knew this man was on cocaine before you got pregnant by him. Why would you choose to have a child with a man that you knew had a true addiction problem with not just cocaine, but with alcohol? You made that choice, but now you look to the Bravo audience for sympathy. Why do you think, as a white woman, that's appropriate? Bronwyn Newport, has your husband been any nicer to you since you've come on the show? Or are you committed to this second season so that you'll have a few shekels in your pocket when he decides to leave you penniless and alone? Cynthia Bailey, do you think that they should have brought Kenya back in a friend capacity and maybe this incident wouldn't have happened so that she could focus on having her own things go on with her life outside of this show? And do you feel sorry for Kenya for not having anything going on in her life outside of this show? Dorit Kemsley, now that you've given PK the best years of your thighs and he's going to leave you penniless and alone in a hovel, do you regret being his third wife? And also, now that you, with few discernible job skills, have lost your largesse, what do you plan to do for money? Do you think Beverly Beach will sell, or will you have to find an older, fatter, worse-toothed coot to give the last years of your thighs to? Drew Sidora, I have no questions for liars at this time. But why would you get pregnant by a man you've only known for 8 months? Is it because you're a fool, like your wigs suggest? Or is it because you're desperate for love and your mother was too busy in the pulpit chasing Jesus's love to acknowledge her daughters? Is that why you're so lonely? Is that why you won't come out as a lesbian because your mother says it's against God? Is that why? Gina, are you going to give us yet again another hideous confessional look? Or are you going to not be a sight for Sora? Or are you not going to be a sore for side eyes this season? Are you actually going to try to give us style and elegance? Gretchen Rossi, why do you look so old? Why do you look so old? You look like you're, a well-kept 70-something-year-old woman. I thought you were in your 40s. Yeah, you're only 46. Why do you look like this? Why do you look like you're about to take your last cruise? That's a Texas in memoriam photo if I've ever seen one. Heather, you brought absolutely nothing last season to Housewives of OC. Other than selling your homes, what are you actually going to bring to the women this season? Or is it that you just want to be on TV? Because if you just want to be on TV, do a HGTV show. We don't need you hogging up Housewives of OC with no storyline. Heather Gay, are you afraid of Jen Shah getting out of prison? Since before she went in, she dotted your I. When she comes out, do you think she's going to cross your T? Jax, why did you marry an enabling heifer like Brittany? Is it because you couldn't do any better with your addiction, or is it because she tolerated your small penis? Jason Caperna, why would you marry such a low-level, homely white woman like that thing you married? Of all the white women you could have gotten, why couldn't you have gotten a white woman that takes accountability, that's educated, that's warm, that's friendly? There are good white women out there. Why did you choose the bottom of the barrel? Why did you choose your wife's ilk? I'd love to know. Jason Lally, Michelle is a viper who loves no one, and yet you still thought that you would be happy with her. I guess I don't have a question. That's just a statement. You're an unattractive heterosexual, so halfway through the read, I stopped caring. Kelly Farrell, are you president of the Lollipop Guild? The Lollipop Guild? The Lollipop Guild. Are you president of the Lollipop Guild? The people would like to know. Larsa Pippen, as an apple-headed cougar, are you afraid that the men you date are going to run your pockets like you ran Scottie Pippen's? Lisa Barlow, I'd like to thank you for bringing your tequila last year, and I hope you bring some this year for free. Don't start charging us now. Mary Crosby, do you think your son's bout of opioid addiction was brought about by the consistently negative things you had to say about other Black people? Do you think that's your karma? I do. Phaedra Parks, why did you feel it appropriate to lie on Portia and Candy Burris all those years ago? And will you apologize now? Meredith Marks, why is your son so uninteresting, but yet you keep thrusting him upon us? Portia Williams, do you think you're a good mother after introducing Pilar to your fly-by-night scammer? Having her call him Papa, Pappy, whatever? Do you think that you may need to take some real time and reflection with yourself so you don't introduce her to someone much worse? Because you clearly didn't vet him enough to know what kind of man you brought in the home. How will you keep from making that mistake in the future? Shamia, now that you've looked hideous for 10 going on 11 episodes, will you hire a stylist for your next season? When you're a friend of the show, because it seems that's what you are now, a friend of the show. Sheree Whitfield, for what? For what purpose do you serve? Why are you here? What do we have to listen through the marbles in your mouth about now? Tom Schwartz, when are you going to come out? Because I just don't see you being happy. You can't pick a woman. I think you and Tom need to get together. That's who would be happy with you. And that's who you'd be happy with. You could do mushrooms in peace. Well, those are all the disrespectful questions I could muster this afternoon. But I'm sure I'll come up with more the more guests are announced. If you have any disrespectful questions for the heifers that will be joining us at Bravocon, put them in the comments and they may get asked.